Hi, I'm Eric with WildRose911.com, and I just wanted to quickly go over a vehicle that was actually one of our very alive, very healthy clients who actually got one of our vehicles as an economic, extremely safe way of getting back and forth to work. He has a lot of toys, he loves cars, however he just didn't have a real safe option, a real reliable option, and an option that actually wouldn't just blow through gas like it was $1 a gallon. So he came to us and we actually got him a Crown Victoria, and it's an excellent Crown Vic. We went through it mechanically and make sure that she's sound. And as you can see, events unfolded that showed the true value of the Crown Victoria. He was being merged into from another vehicle, and just to be, I guess to be nice, if he didn't move over, he would have pushed that car into ongoing traffic. So instead what he did is he actually went onto the curb, and as you can see right here, the tire actually curved onto out the side of the road, and then what it ended up doing was going in this direction into one of those big light posts. Now I'm talking about not the small ones, but a nice big hog molly that will typically tear through a car. Okay, so first of all, the first safety feature that came into practice was the fact that the car didn't flip, the car didn't do any sort of shenanigans when it hit the curb at speed. It behaved just the way it's supposed to, and then it literally went through a massive street pole. Now what I want to do is Seaton has been working on these cars for quite some time, and I want him to come in and just kind of go over the details of what we're looking at here with the damage. Okay, so Seaton, if you don't mind just coming on in.
Hi, this is a real testimonial to how strong these Crown Victoria Interceptors are. They have a full box chassis frame and big heavy suspension. The sheriff that was at this accident said that he was surprised that nobody was killed. That's what normally happens when you knock over one of those big light poles, you normally die. But because this car is so strong with its frame and the suspension, it actually did very little damage to this car. In fact, even when the tow truck driver dropped it off, he said he couldn't believe that this was the car that knocked over the light pole and did all the damage. And of course our customer is super happy that he had one of these, because his other car that he has is a high-end car that he probably would have got killed in this accident, you know, is the bottom line. So what ended up happening here is when this car hopped the curb, it hit the curb so hard that it blew the tire off the rim of the vehicle, and then the tire half off in the rim, then it careered into the pole and then ripped the axle off the suspension and pushed it back into the frame and the body here. Now normally that would have cut a regular car in half. Because of the design and the strength of these cars, this car looks relatively undamaged considering what it did, and our customer, apart from being shaken, was uninjured, which is very, very rare in an accident like this. And sheriff said couldn't believe it, tow truck driver said couldn't believe it. We've seen this before, so we know this is how strong these cars are, and this is why we sell them. So basically it ripped the whole suspension out of the hub off the suspension and jammed it back into the frame. Now if that frame wasn't there, what would have happened is it would have jammed it right back through the car, and the car would have structurally failed, and the lamppost would be sitting in the middle or towards where the driver is. But because this was such a heavy, strong car with that full frame, that frame absorbed all of that impact and then transferred it to the pole, which actually ripped the pole out of the ground.
Now see, can you show us exactly where that frame hit the, or forgive me, where the light post hit the frame?
If you just pass through that light. Here's where the wheel hit into the frame here and bent the frame, and it absorbed all of the impact because the disc and caliper, it was like a solid piece of metal. Once that rim compressed, it could only compress so far, and then the hub and the disc and the caliper all became one unit and then pushed into the frame there. Now, of course, if that frame wasn't there, with an impact like that, it would be halfway through the car on a regular car. And this is the thing that a lot of people don't understand unless you're an engineer or you've had mechanical experience, in that the frame is key to the strength of a vehicle. If you look at a NASCAR, you take all the little body pieces off and it's all a big steel frame. There's a reason for that, because of the strength. Same with any racing equipment. It's all about the frame, the strengths in the frame. And these have this big, heavy-duty frame that goes right from the front to the back of the car. And here's the front part of the frame, which then the suspension bolts to. So what you have is you have a design that I would say would be 5 times stronger than a modern Japanese car. So here's the secret to it. Here's the strength of it. It has that big frame. These cars weigh 4,300 pounds because they have all of that extra metal in, and they can stand hits like this. This is unbelievable. The minimal amount of damage, an absolutely uninjured driver, apart from being shaken, of course. He had a seatbelt on and that kept him where he should do, but this took a massive hit, even though it doesn't look like it. But because of its design, because of its frame and everything like that, the driver's safe. The vehicle that merged into his lane was a Prius. It had a family in it. If you have a look at the front of this car, our customer wanted a big, strong, safe car, but he sacrificed basically his car to save a family, in my opinion. According to what he said with the accident, if he hadn't have avoided that Prius, which was probably only 1/3 of what this car weighs, he would have crashed into the Prius and then cannoned that car off into oncoming traffic, which almost certainly would have been major fatalities in that car.
So see, let me just take it from here then. So as you can tell, this accident not only was unavoidable, we've all been there. However, it performed exactly the way it's supposed to. It saved his life, okay? And so you're looking at a fatality accident. Typically your car is going to be absolutely destroyed. And the ironic thing with this is there was actually a decision to be made about this vehicle. So let's pop the hood here. Let's see the damage underneath the hood. Because remember, the engine compartment is protected, obviously, by the frame. So he's going to open that up, and you're looking in there, and yes, your air conditioner did have a rough time about it, but otherwise, you look at that compartment. So the big difference here, ladies and gentlemen, is that I have a vehicle here that's running, okay? That went through a fatal accident. It should have been fatal, but it's not. He's alive, the car's running, and Steven's talking about good NASCAR technology, except for the fact that we're talking this car in itself was right about around $10,000. So for $10,000, you're looking at all these benefits. It's a little silly. So that's why we deal with them here. I know that's why Steven's been dealing with these for 10 years. Because you have a car here that just went through a big light pole and we just turned her over, okay? So here at Wild Rose 911, these are the vehicles that we specialize in, and we work as hard as we possibly can to put them back into the hands of police departments everywhere, so that the police and law enforcement can be as safe as possible. But we want our clients and anyone to be in these cars because they're bigger, they're stronger, they're cheaper. They're just 100% better than your run-of-the-mill car. Thank you very much.